Skyrim will soon crash in the consequences of a dragon crisis made much worse by the mismanagement of the Jarls. The dragon attacks tearing up the land of the Nords may soon destroy one of Skyrim's greatest achievements, Sovngarde. The peasants, warriors and merchants are left with a huge mess they somehow need to sort, while they are outvoted by the nobles and Jarls making the decisions for them. What happened? The return of the dragons. Skyrim cleared its sky of dragons after 3 Nord heroes managed to banish Alduin, the World Eater, with the help of an Elder Scroll. After he disappeared, the other dragons were weakened and hunted down to the point of extinction. For thousands of years, no dragons were sighted again, with Nords starting to think that they were merely legends. But now Alduin somehow returned, amidst the chaos of a civil war. The dragon gained access to Sovngarde, and now is growing stronger by consuming the souls of those who lost their lives in battle, threatening to even destroy Nirn itself. The problems caused by Alduin are aggravated by the aftermath of the Oblivion Crisis. When the mythical Dawn assassinated Emperor Uriel Septim VII, the Daedra Lord Mehunis Dagon launched a massive scale attack on Tamriel, opening thousands of Oblivion gates across the land. Martin Septim, the illegitimate son of Uriel and the last remaining member of the Septim bloodline, sacrificed himself in order to defeat Dagon and shut the gates of Oblivion. This victory was costly as it severely weakened the Empire of Tamriel with the loss of the last descendant of Tiber Septim, the unifier of Tamriel that became the god Talos. Seizing the opportunity to strike while the Empire was weakened, a mere supremacist sect of the High Elves established the Third Aldmeri Dominion, also known as the Thalmor, and declared war on the Empire of Tamriel to expand the influence of the High Elves over Nirn as a whole. Incapable of winning a head-on war against the Thalmor after being severely weakened after the Oblivion Crisis, the Empire was forced to sign the White Gold Concordat that benefited the Thalmor and strengthened their influence over the continent of Tamriel. One of the conditions of the treaty was enforcing that the worshipping of Talos should be banned within the Empire. While this condition was not popular among any of the races of man, it hit the Nords the hardest. Ever since Talos unified Tamriel, the Nords remained steadfast and fierce fighters of the Empire, and they took deep offense of being forced to abandon their worship of their favorite god, a major factor that ignited the Skyrim Civil War, with the Stormcloak Rebellion, led by Ulfric Stormcloak, fighting for the independence of Skyrim from the Empire under the presumption that if successful they would be able to go back to worshipping Talos and hold their own against the High Elves. This rebellion, however, is really short-sighted. If Ulfric was to be successful, he wouldn't be able to fight the Dominion all by himself. He would only make it easier for the Thalmor to completely take over Skyrim and further weaken the Empire. Not only that, but the Empire is attempting to gather its forces to organize a counterattack against the Thalmor, so Ulfric's rebellion, contrary to what he might believe, only further benefits the Elves. If that was not enough, the Civil War also empowers Alduin, who now feasts on the souls of those that meet their demise in this conflict and end up in Sovngarde, meaning that the Civil War could also mean the end of the world in the jaws of the World Eater. Skyrim has only one hope against Akatosh's firstborn and his dragons, the Dragonborn. The prophesied bane of the World Eater, the Dragonborn possesses the ability to absorb the soul of a slain dragon, permanently killing it. A fabled hero of Skyrim, the Dragonborn could also be the key piece in solving the Civil War issue, being capable to swing the conflict in favor of whichever side that they might like helping. However, even if the Dragonborn was to slay Alduin and end the Civil War, it still wouldn't be enough to solve all of the problems of Skyrim, because Skyrim still faces major issues with its immigration and social inequality, with thousands of Dark Elves migrating to Skyrim, escaping from the destruction caused by the eruption of the Red Mountain in Vanderfell, and the Aldmeri Dominion imposing its will on Skyrim. Many Nords have taken their frustration with the High Elves and directed it towards the Dark Elves that arrive in Windhelm. Forced to live in poor condition in elven ghettos in the city, the Dark Elves are relegated to low-paying jobs and are constantly harassed by the locals. Likewise, Argonians and Khajiits are also not welcomed by Nords in Skyrim, and often have to resort to crime to not simply starve in the streets of Skyrim cities. But even men are subject to a life in the streets, with the homelessness and crime rates of Skyrim reaching an all-time high, with veterans and even children made orphans by the Civil War being forced to beg for money. It is no mystery why Skyrim has so many bandits across its roads. Skyrim is also facing a skooma addiction crisis, with people of all social classes partaking in the usage of the drug in their houses or in skooma dens. While the general population struggles with the socio-economical crisis of Skyrim, the Jarls and nobles ignore all the problems of the people around them, prioritizing only their own interests and maintaining their lavish lifestyles. So the question remains, is there any hope for Skyrim? Honestly, it's hard to say for sure, but we at Kurzgesagt believe that the situation is looking grim. Skyrim's problems have been piling up for thousands of years at this point, and it will take a long time for them to be even slightly alleviated. A lot of them are a result of the Jarl political system that benefits the old and wealthy and perpetuate a vicious cycle of ignoring the problems that affect the people of Skyrim. So unless Skyrim undergoes some serious structural changes, requiring some sacrifices, it might take thousands of years for the country to finally head towards a better direction. Otherwise, Skyrim will be over. If you think that what we're doing is of value, and you want to support our human-made slop, please consider buying one of our handcrafted
Hey, what are you doing here? Get out of here!